Hello everyone and welcome back to Epic Micky Rebrushed with Chaos Counseling. And let me rebalance it, because last thing we streamed was Fantasia for Azure. So the audio, or the game audio, was turned up. So I just want to say, hey Endangered, how's it going? I think we're... Fuck you. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we opened up this place last time. But yeah, so, officially I have started my, I've started my long weekend for the, yes please. For the long weekend to celebrate July 4th here in America. Not that I'm going to be doing much celebrating, more just... I'm just going to be deeply embarrassed by the fact that I'm an American. That's what I did last year. That's all I can feel right now. It's deep-seated embarrassment that... and shame. Lots and lots of shame. But, let's not think about that. Let's instead, you know, take the time to enjoy the fact that this game got a remaster, which... given that this series seemed to just appear and then die after 2 lackluster sequels, is still kind of an impressive feat in of itself. Like, love or hate this game and hate this series, we can... just the fact that it got a new lease on life, I feel is something that can and maybe even should be admired, you know? It can give you hope that other franchises can possibly make a return. Speaking of which, a game that... okay, I'm still really debating on what I want to stream next. Because I feel at this point, I've just kind of lost the drive to stick to that schedule, so I don't know if I'm going to do a Sonic... I mean, I'm going to do more Sonic games. Let's not kid ourselves here, but I'm just not feeling them right now. And I'm going to do more Tales games, but I'm likewise just not feeling them right now. And I absolutely want to do more fan service games, because ripping those apart was actually a lot of fun. But I don't know... well, okay, that's a lie. If I do end up streaming Stellar Blade, I actually really like that game. I mean, hell, I like it so much that I got a custom-made sticker. Well, when I say custom-made, I don't mean, like, it was custom-made for me. It was, like, basically from an Etsy shop of the main character, Eve. And it's on my Switch, too, because how much I liked that game. Yes, it probably was because of the boobs, but... always fun to rip into dumb games. But I still think the game was really fun, and I will not apologize for that. I will acknowledge that it is probably because I'm a horny prick, but still, I liked it, and I won't apologize for that. Besides, I'm not a complete pig. I am able to recognize that Knights of Azure 2 is an abomination. So, the boobs did not win me over there. But yeah, so the games I'm thinking of are Stellar Blade... revisiting the Darksiders franchise after all these years. Like, actually playing through the first game. In its entirety for the channel. There's a place for horny games. I agree. Especially now that I'm kind of out of my super conservative Christian bubble. I have kind of got a little bit more of a tolerance for fan service games and hell, even some pornographic games. I've actually played a couple of those. Obviously, we're never playing them for the channel because YouTube, and even then, I kind of don't really want to. But point is that I'm like, okay, there is a time and there is a place, but yeah, it's still something that we will never do on the channel because I still want to keep our channel at least. Well, not family-friendly, because we swear up a storm, and hell, we played Baldur's Gate 3, but we want to keep the channel at least teen-rated, if you know what I mean. But, words. But yes, Stellar Blade is one I'm considering, Returning to Darksiders is one I'm considering, Brain... why are you failing me? What have I done to you? I thought we were friends. Alas, poor Brain, I knew thee. But yeah, totally. Streaming some more games that I've kickstarted. Now, I know I want to do more of that because, hell, I help bring them to life. I kind of want to... Oh, cool. But yeah, I want to show some love to the games that I help bring to light. Not light, life. And if nothing else, it'll kind of force me to play them, if you know what I mean. But the reason I brought this up is I've been debating if I want to stream Bubsy 4D. Because... Because, for those who don't know, the very first video game I played, at least I'm 99.9% sure it was the first game I ever played, was the original Bubsy. It was... I was at a friend's house. They let us play their NES, or SNES, whatever it was. I forgot Bubsy sort of got people's good side weirdly. So yeah, I've actually wanted to play a Bubsy game for the channel for a while, and I do still kind of want to play Bubsy 3D for the channel, just to laugh at how miserable it is, because I did buy the Bubsy collection, whatever it was called. Basically, it was the collection that had every single Bubsy game, every single old classic Bubsy game. So it didn't have any of the... It didn't have Bubsy, the Woolly Strike Back, or Bubsy Paws on Fire. Those were the two names that brought Bubsy back, but... Yeah, the reason why Bubsy got on people's good side is because, honestly, Bubsy 4D is a legit, really fun game to play. It controls well. The game is actually self-aware about how much everyone hates Bubsy and actually kind of channels it to the point where it's like Bubsy is now like, look, I get it. In the 90s, I was going through my, you know, edgy, obnoxious, I was going through my edgy, obnoxious teenage phase, and I annoyed everyone. Now I'm just kind of just trying to live my life. Please stop hating on me. I've grown up. Yeah, no, so there is, like, a good amount of, like, self-loathing. Like, it's a good amount of self-loathing on Bubsy's part, where he's like, I know everyone hates me. Can we just have a laugh at my expense and move on? What's also kind of interesting is that, there is a character in the game called Repulsa. I think that's her name. She was actually a character introduced in, like, the one-episode pilot that was made for, what's what I'm looking for? Bubsy, you know, because, like, a lot of video game characters got pilots for possible shows back in the 90s. Only a handful ever got made, like Mario and Zelda and Street Fighter, and so on and so forth. But, Bubsy had a pilot. It wasn't made, but it introduced a character named Repulsa in it. And she's a she's a character in the game. Again, she's someone who just absolutely despises Bubsy, but yeah, no, it's, yeah, honestly, I haven't beaten it yet, mostly because I've honestly started replaying Digimon Story. Oh, of course. I started replaying Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth around the same time that I gave it a try, and I've been kind of bouncing back and forth between the games, and my love for Digimon has kind of been taking up most of my time, because for those who don't know, I love Digimon. Hold on, I'm going to swap controllers real quick. And when I say I love Digimon, I mean as, like, more than a friend. There's so much to love about Digimon. Agreed. I mean, let's be real. Anjouamon was probably definitely part of my sexual awakening. Because, damn, that is what... I mean, because it's not something I inherently registered as a kid, per se. Because, oh, Digimon, and she used to be a cat, so... It never occurred to my brain, I'm like, that's a lot of skin she's showing off. But, yeah, that's a lot of skin she's showing off. Lady Devimon was my speed at the time. Well, don't get me wrong. I definitely think Lady Devimon is more my vibe. And hell, I definitely prefer, if we're talking about Angelamon versus Lady Devimon, if we're talking about their evolutions, Lilithmon is definitely more my speed than Ophanimon. Not that I dislike Ophanimon by any means. And no, I refuse to call her Laylamon. She is Lilithmon. She is supposed to be, she's one of the 7 Demon Lords. She's meant to be based on Lilith. So no, I refuse to call her Laylamon. But, I mean, also, again, I'm not trying to fetishize women by saying this, because this is sort of that, but there was like a video showing Lady Devimon and Angelamon DNA Digivolve into Mastemon, which Mastemon's great. I love that Digimon. I love the Digimon for a number of reasons, but it's got really good stats in the games it appears in. And Lady Devimon and Angelamon lean in, and looks like they're about to kiss before they DNA Digivolve into Mastemon. I'm like, okay, guys, please stop sexualizing women, stop sexualizing lesbians. It's not cool, and they've been fetishized by men for so long. But I'm like, but I can't deny it wasn't effective. Again, I think it's one of those, I'm trying to be more, I want to acknowledge when I do find something hot, but I do also want to acknowledge when it's problematic, you know? That was for sure intentional. It absolutely was, you know? And I think it's mostly because 2 of my best friends are, you know, 2 women who are dating, and they've suffered a lot from men fetishizing lesbians, or fetishizing lesbians. Yeah, no, blah, 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 by fetishizing lesbians, so I really am trying to be better about it. But I do also have to be honest with myself that I'm like, I can't pretend like I don't see the appeal. I just need to be better about it, you know? Sorry, but Renamon and Sakuyamon especially, I mean, okay, Sakuyamon was just a human in a suit, but she started as Renamon. I'm like, that definitely helped me kind of start noticing furries, you know? Again, it wasn't the original. I'll admit I was a kid in the 90s, so Lola Bunny definitely made me question, do I like rabbits or not? And then Crystal Fox definitely didn't help either. Albeit that was more, do I like foxes? Actually, fun fact, the German dub of Digimon Tamers actually inadvertently, like in an attempt to censor things, accidentally created the very first trans Digimon. Because for those who don't know, in Digimon Tamers, hey, Simp Lord Queen, how's it going? Animatronic Donald? What? Mickey! Yeah, you look at what you did to me! Oh, the Mad Doctor Beetlesworks busted you up, right? Ah, that was mechanical whatever. Huh, you want me to find the rest of your parts, right? Just tell me where they are. Drat damn ghost honey battery and tumble down! Oh, lonesome matter. Got it! See you later, Donald! I'm doing pretty good. I have no complaints. Okay, I'm not even gonna try. I can do Mickey, I can't do Donald. Mickey, the Mad Doctor broke my body to pieces, but what's really bad is those ghosts when hit them in the lonesome matter whack. No good, crazy ghost. Quick, show it off with your arm and leg and help me. But, sorry, back to Digimon. So, it is very much, and it's not, the way that Rika and Renamon talk in Digimon Tamers, it's very clear that there's meant to be some romantic subtext between them. So, Germany being like, oh, we can't have potential, you know, lesbian-coded characters in our anime for kids, so they actually changed Renamon. I love Epic. Yeah, I actually only played this as an adult, so I don't have as much of a nostalgic connection for it, but this is the game that made Oswald my favorite Disney character, and is still to this day my favorite Disney character. I have like 4 or 5 Oswald shirts, and anytime I go to a Disney park, I always make it a point to see if they have any Oswald merch on sale. I've got the Oswald plushie. I've got the plushie of Oswald's wife. I've got Oswald ears from Disneyland. I always go for the Oswald ears instead of Mickey ears if I want to wear ears in the Disney parks. Screw not playing them after Spore Hero. Oh, Spore Hero, that's another game that I'm rather fond of. Oh, man, I just wish that the second game... I wish they'd remaster the second game. I know it wasn't as good and it wasn't as well received, but part of what hurt it is the fact that it was locked on the Wii U. So if they remastered it like this one on modern hardware, it wouldn't have the same frame rate issues. And it could possibly... And I mean, yes, I know that the story is, you know, this game had the Mad Doctor and the Phantom Blot, or just the Blot, or whatever it's called. And the second game just had the Mad Doctor, but I'm like, well, that's fine, you know? Anyway. But this is definitely the game that made me love Oswald. But sorry, back to Digimon. I will finish this real quick. But yeah, so because they didn't want possibly lesbian-coded characters, they gender-swapped Renamon into a man, only for Renamon to eventually become Sakuyamon that has got very obvious female anatomy. So Germany, in an attempt to censor gay, possible gay character, created the very first trans Digimon. So I just find that funny. Let's see. Wish I had Spore Hero for the Switch, plus Epic Micky 2 remastered for the Switch. I know, sadly, I don't think we're ever going to see Spore again, partially because it's EA are bastards, and partially because of the mixed legacy that Spore has. But I definitely... Well, I just feel that most old games just need a remaster, game preservation, damn it. Because there are a number of games that I would love to play that either I didn't get to when I was younger, or I had them, I sold them for store credit because I was a poor kid who wanted new games, and I want to play them again, but now they're ridiculously expensive because, god damn it, re-release both of the Radiant Fire Emblem games. I think Path of Radiance got added to the Switch's GameCube digital store, and good. It's the second best Fire Emblem game. Fight me on this one. No, I know most people think it's Three Houses. It's not. I know some people think it's Fate. Fate is a piece of shit. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, and if anyone who actually likes Fates is wrong. Anyway, if it isn't obvious, I absolutely... Fire Emblem Fates is my second least favorite game of all time. Only surpassed by Tales of Vesperia. Who knows, maybe someday we'll get a Spore Hero remaster for the Switch. If it happens, I'll be screaming excitement because I love that game so much. Yeah, if it happens, I will absolutely play it for the channel. Sadly, it won't be as fun since, well, then again, it's a shorter game, so maybe we could get Flaze to come down and play it with us. Because I know when I stream Spore Hero just as Edgelord, well, I did make sure the game industry does seem remake happy nowadays. I think it's due to a combination of everything's nostalgia jerking, both with movies and with TV shows and with games. And again, I don't necessarily mind as long as the... See, that's why I'm a little skeptical about the remake of Ocarina of Time. Like, as long as it is a remake and not just another remaster, I'm here for it. Kind of like what they did with Final Fantasy VII. But again, if it's just a remake, I'm like, fuck you guys. But... I just know that with EA and their horrible business practices and as well settling out to Saudi Arabia, I just don't think it's likely. But I still love Sarkator, the villain of Spore Hero. No, he's a fun villain. Careful not to make. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to you. I was the pipe organ and the ones that matter. The loathsome ghosts can be. Yeah, I am too. I am disappointed that they're... I mean, okay, I understand why they didn't want Vic Mignogna reprising his role in Persona 3, but I am disappointed they are replacing all the voice cast in Persona 4 like they did in 3, because I feel... Yeah, I think I did light them all. But at the same time, I am super excited. As soon as that remake comes out, then I'm gonna stream that one as Edgelord 2. Like, Persona 4 is my favorite of the 3 Persona games I've played. I don't much care for 3. And honestly, 5 annoys me. Like, specifically Persona 5 Royal. I was less annoyed about the vanilla. Cool. And it's like, I know a lot of people really liked the added content that was added in Royal, but personally, I felt it distracted from the overall experience and undercut it somewhat. Yes, we are. Now, admittedly, maybe a better guide has come out since then, but another thing that did annoy me about Royal was I couldn't find a way to complete all the social links in Royal without romancing everybody. And, well, I have no problem with polyamory. That's not what you can do in Persona. It's a harem. And no one in your harem consented to being in a harem. Royal has an amazing guide. Now, that's good. So it's like, if I revisit it, I'm like, I don't want to... It's like, I don't want to revisit it unless I can play through it without having to be a man slut. Because, like I said, I don't have a problem dating multiple women as long as the women are, or hell, multiple partners, period. As long as everyone else is on board for it. Let's see. And it's very easy to opt out of romance is good. Because, ugh. I know that you could technically romance or flirt with adults in other games, but wow, the amount of adults you could romance as a teenager in that game were unsettling, to say the very least. Especially your fucking teacher. And yes, I know some people will say, I'm like, well, but you could technically romance your teacher in Persona 3. I'm like, no, not really. Because your teacher and you became friends in an MMO. She had genuinely no idea you were her student in-game. It does not count. It's definitely, you know, a wonderful warning to be like, be careful with relationships you form online, especially if you don't know who that person is, but it's not the same thing. But, yeah, just, oh, jeez. I definitely think the teacher in Persona 5 does have a very interesting story. Yeah, I don't get the adult romance. They won't let us be an adult for real. Probably because it's the bullshit of, it's not pedophilia if it's a grown woman and a young guy. That's just the guy getting lucky. Which is fucking bullshit, guys. Pedophilia is pedophilia no matter what gender and no matter... Yeah, no. Fuck that shit. And again, it's especially disturbing with the teacher because of the dynamic, you know? Well, hell, it's especially disturbing with the doctor. That's, like, at least here in America, and I hope in other countries, she would immediately lose her license to practice medicine because that's a inappropriate power dynamic between a doctor and her patient. Like, it doesn't matter how... Well, in Japan, 60's age of consent. Yeah, see, I did know that, but I was under the impression that even with that in mind, you still only 16 to 18-year-olds were the only ones who could actually be romantically together. Anyone over the age of 18 had to... Or something like that. I admit, I don't know that much about it. I only know about it because... let's see, she would lose her license for using you as a test subject. That too. And again, my only knowledge about the age of consent laws in Japan comes from years ago, and don't get me wrong, I know the Nostalgia Critic is not a valid source for anything, but he did talk about, like, over a decade ago when he quickly talked about Sailor Moon, and about how weird it is that a 14-year-old gets sexualized, and he brought up the fact, like, well, that's because the age of consent in Japan is much lower. But again, mostly because I'm like, I don't actually want to know the answer to that question. It's like, I'm quite happy not knowing the actual age of consent laws. Let's see, ever heard of creepypasta? Yes, I have. I've never really been that into them. Those were always more Abby's cup of tea. But yes, I am familiar with creepypasta. In fact, hell, I even got kind of into Slenderman for a while, even if I really didn't know that much about him or his creepypasta. Yeah, because Abby really got into, like, there was one about Tom Nook. I read a little bit of that, but again, it wasn't really my cup of tea. Not judging, just saying it wasn't my cup of... Not saying it was bad, I'm just saying it wasn't my cup of tea. Who would be your favorite creepypasta character story? Again, just due to my limited exposure, it probably... I do apologize for basically, you know, wussing out. Probably Slenderman. I mean, heck, I even got a Slenderman like, first year that Abby and I were married, I got a Slenderman costume. Heck, I still have it, I just don't really fit into it anymore. That's cool. The two faves are the Rake and Smile Dog. See, I had actually never heard of the Rake until Markiplier played a game based on that creepypasta. Albeit, at least in Markiplier's video, it didn't really do a good job of filling you in on what the Rake's deal was, so I'm afraid I don't actually know anything about it. What's Smile Dog? That sounds genuinely horrifying. Nothing wrong with Slenderman. My favorite has to be the Russian sleep experiment. Oh, I've never heard of that one. I mean, yeah, I know, like, the only problem with Slenderman really comes from the Slenderman stabbings that ended up happening that actually ended up ruining the Slenderman movie.
Mickey, it's the Mad Doctor. I've heard about you stumbling about in Wasteland. You'll regret the day you found me, Mickey Mouse. This is as far as you get. My defenses will keep you out. Looks like he left something behind. What do you think it is?
It's probably his porn stash. Yes, I'm probably being a little facetious, but we were joking about fan service and porn earlier, so that one's purely a story, so it's hard to explain. Okay, Smile Dog is a creepypasta about an image of a dog with human teeth. So that says the image is cursed, considering giving it a look at it. That's fair. You know, I take it back. I think that one other creepypasta I might know a little bit more about, thinking about it, was probably Ben Drowned, but that's mostly because that was the one that Abby loved the most. And that's just because she loves Majora's Mask so much, so she really got invested into that because of how much of a big of a Majora's Mask fan she is. But yeah, sorry, just since I brought up Majora's Mask, I'm now thinking of Princess Ocarina of Time. And I definitely want to do Ocarina of Time as an edgelord stream. Mostly just because it's one of my favorite Zelda games by far. In fact, I still think Ocarina of Time is the best Zelda game by a not inconsequential margin. See, I know a lot of creepypastas because I got into them back in 2015 after Spore Hero. Hey! Hey, I've gotten obsessed with, like, so many things. Like, I got into Transformers hard in 2020, and I have become the biggest fanatic of, like, you remember Ben Drowned? Yeah. And I've learned more about Transformers in the last 6 years than I have about almost any other fandom I've been a part of. I'm just that into it. I bought every physical release of the IDW comics. So good. I recommend them highly. It's a shame that because of IDW losing the publishing rights, I'll never be able to get all of them, and I'm really sad about that. But yeah. I also have recently really gotten into... Ooh, an Anvil sketch. Nice. Really gotten into the Sonic franchise again in a big way. Yeah, I'm not. Can I skip this? I would like to skip. Can I skip? Can I skip? I don't want to watch the tutorial scenes. But I've also really gotten back into Sonic, and I've actually been buying all the Sonic IDW. Like, okay, let me rephrase that. I'm buying the IDW hardback collections, specifically. Because they look really nice, and I like having physical media. I'm gonna come up with this crossover idea with the Zark for the villain of Spore Hero fights the vast majority of creepypasta characters. Well, he would definitely be well suited for it, given the fact that he can. Oh, jeez. Oh, got it out of order. That's funny. That's okay. I mean, he definitely would be suited for a lot of interesting things you could do with that, simply due to the fact that with his ability to morph people, he is a great villain for like a body horror story. Please do not write a story about a body horror, because I don't want to write. I don't want to read about a sex worker that is also a body horror antagonist or something like that. And yes, I'm sure that's probably a thing. I just said I don't want to read about it. Don't send me a link in the description or anything like that. I'm content to leave that part of my brain or that part of my soul intact. Because yeah, if you think about it, the villain from Spore Hero in some ways is basically how do I let's see, there we go. That's the button. He's basically the villain from the movie The Thing. And I love The Thing. That's easily one of my favorite movies of all time. It probably is my favorite horror movie of all time. That being said, Iron Lung is now up there because that movie was good. I definitely love the original Aliens when it comes to horror. Also, Alien Romulus was really good too. If you haven't seen Alien Romulus, I do recommend it. Let's see, Zark's pretty much a demon-looking creature, so its hectic way shows zero fear. Agreed. Oh, speaking of film recommendations, I highly recommend Supergirl. Supergirl was good. And I also recommend it just so we can stick it to the red pill alpha male douchebags who are review bombing it and saying it's terrible. But yeah, Supergirl is good. And again, I forget the main actor's name, but her take on Kara is such a unique one and such a good one. Just mwah, chef's kiss. It's one of the best superhero movies I have seen, like not even just in the last 10 years, just period. I loved it to pieces. It was such a unique take on the character. It felt, I think of Sonic, and yes, I love Sonic 2 lol. We thought some creepypasta called Sonic EXE. I am a little familiar with that one, but only because of people who've like played the Sonic EXE games. I'm afraid I don't actually know anything about it. Like, I don't know what the lore behind Sonic EXE or anything like that, but I do think it's creepy from what I've seen. So yeah, I don't know it. I just don't know enough about it. Sonic EXE has a lot of remakes plus fan games. Well, I'm not surprised. Like, Sonic is by far one of the video game characters that has like the most fan-made games, ROM hacks, etc., etc. I mean, hell, Sonic Mania was made because fans basically made their own game, and Sega was like, shit, this is so good, let's hire those people. More about the author being a loser edgelord online in the Sonic EXE story. Oh, geez. Now, admittedly, when he first said I know about the author being an edgelord loser, my first thought was, oh, you mean Ken Penders? I'm like, wait, we're talking about Sonic EXE, not the Sonic comics. Albeit, ooh, fuck Ken Penders. Fuck him. Fuck him long, and fuck him hard with a rusty, hot fire poker. Because quite frankly, no self-respecting person should actually literally have to fuck that freak. That freaky ass douchebag. I'm so addicted to playing Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. I love Sonic Racing's Cross Worlds. I will just admit that I just haven't been... I haven't played it as much as I would like because there's not as much in the way of single-player modes. And yes, just racing itself is fun, but when I have such limited time, I have a hard time justifying games that are just for the gameplay, you know? I know, but I love it to pieces as well. Let's see, I mean, it's not that far off from being that sort of insufferable. Yeah. So I forget if I've... Okay, now I'm curious. What is the creator of Sonic EXE? What's their deal? Because if you share that story, I'm more than willing to talk about the pendering and the bullshit that happened with that. I know I've talked about the pendering a lot on this channel, but not necessarily with the people present, if you know what I mean. Hello. Goodbye. Oh, okay. Are those not TV? Or is it because... Are they Anvil? I mean, I guess it would make sense if they're Anvils since that's the new item, but those look... No? He thinks his shitpost of a creepypasta is amazing. God among men type crap tried to rebrand the story as being about an outer god type taking Sonic shape and insisting called X. Oh, okay. Well, what a dork. What a self-aggrandizing douchebag. Yeah, that definitely sounds like Ken Penders, if I'm being honest. Anyway, so Ken Penders, was the writer of the Archie comics for over 10 years, then left Archie for other things. Basically, he's done a lot of, like, underhanded stuff. Told you it's far off. You're not wrong. He did some, There was like a pitch for a Sonic movie back in the 2000s, which he managed to kind of weasel his way in and muscle out the guy who was supposed to be in charge of the project. Now, admittedly, the project never got off the ground because, well, what he came up with was just bad. But yeah, then after that, he left Archie to pursue more like independent projects. Didn't really go well for him, but... Long story short, he basically, after Sega created Sonic Chronicles, I forget its subtitle. He's like, wait, some of the characters in that vaguely resemble like some of my OC and Mary Sue characters I created for the Sonic comics. So he sued Sega, sued Archie, and due to Archie being absolutely awful with handling the legal situation, he walked away with the legal publication rights to over 200 Sonic characters, even if he can't legally use most of them, since some of the characters he walked away from it's literally Sonic, but he just happens to be Robin Hood, or hell, Sonic's parents, for that matter. At least the version of Sonic's parents that appeared in Archie Comics. He has the rights to them now, even though it's like he can't use them because these characters can't exist without. It's a complicated mess. But the reason why he's a creep is because he loves to do underage ships. Like, specifically, he created a character, I think, named, I don't think it was Antoine. I don't remember what it was. But basically, it was Pepe Le Pew, but as a Sonic character. And, I mean, you can probably already see where this is going if I bring up Pepe Le Pew. But he kept insisting on shipping Sally the edgelord Sonic, who was basically a self-insert. Yeah, pretty much. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, hell, the edgelord, like, the worst issue of the Archie comic was... So basically, when Ken Penders was writing it, he was just evil Sonic, aka Sonic with, like, a flaming leather biker jacket. In this comic, he literally takes Sonic's place and proceeds to have sex with at least one of Sonic's love interests under the guise that he's Sonic, and heavily makes out with 3 others. And it's, I mean, let's be real, it's implied he fucked all of them. I'm like, dude, that's rape, you creepy motherfucker. And after he left, it then took Ian Flynn, bless Ian Flynn, I love that man, basically had to reinvent the character into someone new named Scourge. However, because technically Ken Penders invented evil Sonic, even though he had nothing to do with the character's reinvention to Scourge, Sega cannot legally use Scourge in any media anymore, in any capacity, because of this creep. Despite the fact that he's a well-beloved character now. I mean, okay, he's well-beloved because of how much of a loser he is, but he made a great foil to Sonic. I mean, honestly, let's be real. Arguably, because I think Evil Sonic was introduced before Shadow. Shadow makes for a much better edgelord Sonic counterpart. And again, I'm speaking to someone who doesn't like Shadow that much. I definitely don't hate Shadow anymore, but I'm one of the first people that I used to shit on Shadow all the time. In fact, if it wasn't for the movie, I still would shit on Shadow. Although, speaking of, you know, like, edgelord versions of Sonic and Shadow, I think one of my favorite things about Sonic X Shadow Generations was it introduced me to the concept of Terios. And that Terios makes a lot of sense now. I'm definitely glad they went with the design of Shadow they did with, but knowing that Terios was originally supposed to be a thing definitely helps some of the goofier aspects of Sonic Adventure 2's story make more sense. By the way, I don't actually remember how long this game is, so I don't know how much more of the game I have. Oh, shoot, I need to... Sorry, I just got a reminder text. I'm like, that's right, I have prescriptions I need to pick up. I guess, depending on when I decide to be done with this stream, maybe I can go pick them up after this. Again, I think I'll just kind of depend on... Because if I'm really enjoying streaming, I'm not going to just cut it short. Because when I first started streaming this, like the first 2 streams, the game wasn't grabbing me, but it is now. So I kind of want to chase the urge, if you know what I mean. Whew. Reason to cut it short when it's going well. Agreed. Which there will be 2. Actually, there will be 2 streams tomorrow. I'm gonna do, since I have tomorrow completely off, I'm gonna do an edgelord stream in the morning, because Xenoblade Chronicles X is a long game. Not that I mind, I really, really like that one, but it is long, so we'll do some more streaming of that to try to make some progress with it. And, well, something that Abby and I just kind of decided to do, we literally kind of decided to do it on the spot this last Sunday, was, hey, I've got this Friday off, why don't we stream some more of Fantasia for Azure, since she can actually tune in then. And again, especially after that last route, like, oh, me and Abby just lost our shit in that last stream. We do very much have a strong desire to keep streaming that game. And when I say lost our shit, I do mean that in a really good way. Like, we peaked the mic, we were, you know, yelling. We were so happy. Peace out. I got the 2 reels. That's high praise. Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely the best of all of Azure's Fantasia games, which isn't surprising because it's the newest one. And like the first couple Fantasia games was when Azure was first starting out. But did I miss something? Oh. I did miss something. So it's really not fair to criticize her older games, because, I mean, they were very much while she was still getting started. But I think I like this one a lot because it has fewer options than the second game, but the length is still pretty good. Again, speaking of high praise, Supergirl, awesome. It's sadly going to bomb at the box office, but I can't stress enough how good it was.
These paintings are the guardians of this place. We can only proceed through this room with their blessing. Don't worry, they'll let us through. I go way back with them. Well, some poltergeist scrambling the paintings. We have to put them back in order before we can pass through.
Okay. Oh. Has Lobo in it? How was that? Lobo was so fucking funny. Like, Jason Momoa killed it as Lobo. I don't fully get how I'm supposed to do this one. Oh, I'm going up and down. Okay. To show the main man is meant to be funny. Again, probably my favorite. Okay, I understand now. Probably one of the best lines in the movie, and this isn't a spoiler because it's in the trailer. It's when Lobo, you know, kind of, or maybe not the best lines in the movie, but one of Lobo's best lines, like, aren't you the ditz from the dive bar? Funny, that's what I've been calling you. Touche. Like, and I know some people felt Lobo was pointless to the story. I don't agree. I felt Lobo served a very important purpose because he served as a nice contrast to Kara. So, honestly, me and Abby are both in agreement that if he had been cut from the film just would not have worked. Let's see. We'll have some fun banter. I agree. But yeah, Lobo, in my humble opinion, was needed for that movie. Was he the most important character in the movie? Not by a long shot. Passage. He says it at least 3 times. Like, when I heard it, like, when he first said it, "Oh, you bastards," I'm like, yes, thank you! But yes, he absolutely says bastage. Like I said, I clocked it at least 3 times. Maybe it was just 2 times. I could be... I mean, you're not wrong, but he's only in the movie for a little bit. Because, again, the emotional core of the movie is still between Kara and the character Ruthie. So, like I said, I do think he's necessary for the movie, but he is in the movie a good amount. Like, I genuinely feel if he was in the movie more, he would have overstayed his welcome. But yes. Hey, Lobo's a good character. I mean, again, I wouldn't rank him in my top 10 favorite DC characters, but I can appreciate him. And yeah, like, Jason Momoa in makeup, I mean, yeah, his proportions don't match Lobo, but that's because Lobo, you know, isn't completely human proportioned. He's bulkier than most humans, but he really kills the look as Lobo. Lobo, good stuff. Good stuff. Jason Momoa's Lobo, good stuff. Like, there's a reason why when Jason Momoa first auditioned to be in a DC project, he was hoping to play as Lobo. Because, again, he killed it. I like DC, one of my faves. Lobo, Red Hood, and those types. Yeah, I really can't stand Red Hood. And admittedly, that has more to do with just, I feel he's been seriously misused by DC. But yeah, my favorite superhero of all time is Booster Gold. Then followed, I love Blue Beetle. Like, I like both Ted Kord and Jaime Reyes, but I do prefer Jaime to Ted. Hell, Jaime Reyes is the character that got me reading superhero comic books, at least for a while. I gave up on that because they're just too much. Love Aquaman. Thoroughly enjoy Wonder Woman. It depends on who's writing for Batman. But honestly, Batman is a character that does often piss me off more than not. And that really does boil down to whoever's writing for the guy. He's absolutely been this year's, but he got some good stuff. Rooster Gold and Plastic Man. Oh yeah, I love Plastic Man. I love that when you really get down to it, Plastic Man is like it's an unspoken understanding that he's like the most dangerous person in all of the DC universe. See, I used to like Black Adam a lot, but I admit, this is probably terrible for me to say, but Dwayne Johnson kind of sullied my enjoyment of Black Adam a little bit. And again, I think the other reason I'm just not too hot on Red Hood is because, honestly, I just prefer Tim Drake and Dick Grayson as characters over Jason Todd. Plus, Man is the only hero Batman doesn't have a plan to take out permanently. Well, it's because you kind of can't. Like, Plastic Man is just that unstoppable if you really get down to it. It's because, I mean, A, the guy's unkillable by conventional means. He doesn't have... I mean, when you really get down to it, he was basically Deadpool before Deadpool was Deadpool, since Plastic Man's been around since the 1940s. I like Red Hood because he's his potential in the Red Hood animated movie. I do really like that movie. And, you know, don't get me wrong, I do kind of agree that Batman shouldn't really kill, because him not killing is definitely the thing that does separate him from his villains. However, on the flip side, I'm like, I completely agree with Red Hood. Whether it's Batman himself or just the justice system, Joker should have been executed a long time ago. Because quite frankly, I know like the in-universe reason is, oh, because Joker is insane, he can't be tried in prison. He has to be put in an asylum. I'm like, yeah, that's bullshit. I'm sorry, but if someone like the Joker has legitimately killed that many people, quite frankly, you can and should waive that. So my pan-ass thinks Jason Todd is hot as fuck. Hey, I ain't judging. The chaos in my library must be stopped. This haunting is out of control. The ghosts disturbing the bookcase have sent many of my prize books flying away. First, you must seek out the broken skulls that have freed these spirits. Repair them, the spirits will leave my bookcase. Second, collect the flying books, and they're still in the room. I sent Mustia in the bog. Easy to retrieve one of my books. Understand you have it. Return to me. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Granted, again, I personally think Dick and Tim are both hotter than Jason, but again, that's also me. Then again, to be real, the only Robin, or former Robin, or current whatever... I like every single Robin except Damian Wayne. Because, like, growing up, you know, Robin was my hero. I loved Robin. Admittedly, I didn't realize there was two different Robins that I was idolizing, because I didn't know that Dick and Tim were different characters. I never liked Dick. Really? I'm kind of curious why you never liked Dick. Because Dick, I think, is just one of the best superheroes ever. Definitely, like, I feel there's a reason why during the events of Infinite Crisis, Dick was one of the reasons that they were able to convince Golden Age Superman that modern day Earth was worth saving. That was weird. His whole existence was a lie for so long. Dick was the angry Robin. You sure about that? Because Dick's whole thing is that he's the altruistic, kind Robin. Hell, in fact, a lot of people joke that he's before Crisis. Okay, I mean, I don't agree with that at all. 'Cause honestly, I'd say even pre-Crisis, I'd say the angriest, you know, Dick ever was in the 2000s, and even then, yeah, no, in the 2000s he was kind of angry. But again, that was just because that was the dark age of comics in full swing. How's that? There we go. I think they killed like 2 times. You know, Jason. Yes, I am familiar. Like the original backstory for Jason Todd was he was basically like they basically just copy and pasted Dick's origin. They just I think it was Killer Croc who killed Jason's parents instead of Dick. Or instead of just a mobster. Sorry, I don't remember if Dick's parents, or if the mobster that killed Tim's parents was anything other than just a mobster. I'm sure he was somebody because it's comic books. There's no such thing as simple, if you know what I mean. Again, I just think Tim is the most interesting Robin just because he became Robin because he was just smart enough that he figured out Bruce was Batman on his own. And I just think that's just kind of fun. Tim's parents died too. So one of the things, something I fucking hate about DC, when Tim first became Robin, he was the first Robin to have living parents. Okay, I missed that. However, in a very edgy 2000s decision that I will never be okay with, they decided to murder Tim's dad just to make Tim more like Batman or some shit like that. And I hate it. I hate it so much because that was such a unique thing that Tim had. Was he was a Robin whose parent who had a parent that was still alive. That was unique. And what's more is that eventually Tim's dad learned that he was Robin and accepted that he was Robin and realized that him being Robin was important. Like, again, it really made Tim super interesting. And again, then in, like I said, a very edgelord 2000s decision, they killed his dad as part of an event comic in order to help drive the stakes up or some bullshit. And yeah, it just, you know about Duke or Signal, the bat that works the day patrols and his powers? I know of Signal. I don't know a ton about his powers. Honestly, my first exposure to the Signal was actually in the webtoons, the Bat Family Adventures, which, I'm not gonna lie, is probably one of my favorite takes on the Bat Family, because they do act like a family. They do kind of act goofy and silly. Again, they very much feel like they are siblings, clowning on each other, and, you know, Bruce is their dad, that they always clown on him, but yeah. Like, again, as much as I hate Damien, I don't hate Damien as much in that webtoon. I love the webtoon too. It's where Love of Jason comes from. Alright, you know what? That's fair. That is fair. Because I definitely think they do handle... Oh, gee. Oh, ow, ow, ow. Sorry, my ear just randomly pressurized, and it was uncomfortable. Yeah, they definitely handle, like, most of the Bat family much better in that webtoon. Plus, it was really cool to see both Cassidy Brown and Cassandra get to don their Batgirl outfits again, because... I also, let's see, that delves into his trauma. Agreed. I also do really appreciate the fact that Barbara is still paralyzed in that, because, well, I will always criticize the Killing Joke and how it did paralyze her in bad taste. I do appreciate how the subsequent writers went out of their way to validate it and make her, like, one of the most important, if not, like, one of the only paralyzed superheroes in fiction. And yeah, I don't, And I didn't like when DC decided to unparalyze her. Because I'm like, yes, it was a bad decision at the time, but you guys have done the work. And she's now arguably more important being a wheelchair-bound hero, you know? Don't take that from her, please. In some run, she gets leg braces or some shit. Like, again, I know it's comics, nothing's permanent. What's the big deal? I'm like, yes, you're... Oh, shit. Yes, you're not technically wrong, but... I mean, the fact that Jericho was one of the very few superheroes that was mute and had to communicate via sign language, I'm like, that was pretty unique. And it kind of sucked that they made Jericho evil and had it so that he could talk again. Because I'm like, A, it sucks that he was made evil, but it also sucks. I'm like, why'd you take away that uniqueness from him, you know? Because there really aren't... Where's a woman in your comics just fits? Yeah. Or comms. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Plus... Plus, again, I always did prefer Cassie as Batgirl. Actually, okay, one thing that I have a minor complaint about with the webtoon, and this is the minor complaint, this really is just preferences, is that I know that Starfire was a member of the Outlaws, so that's why she's depicted as hanging out with Jason. But as someone who is very much a Dick Grayson Starfire stan, I'm like, I would love to have seen Starfire hang out more with Dick and be in a relationship with Dick instead of Barbara. But again, that's not a valid complaint. That's just, well, fuck you too. That is just very much my preference on that subject. Didn't Dick before their wedding? I'm afraid I don't know the answer to that one because of just how messy comic book continuity is. It's like really hard to like look that sort of information up. Like the one thing that I know that happened like before Dick and Star's wedding was that Raven, possessed by her dad, crashed their wedding or something like that. I'm afraid I don't have the answer to that, and it's like it's hard. It's harder than most people would realize to Wikipedia information about I love Raven too, about comic books, because I know that unfortunately, and this is something that does kind of suck, Dick did get sexually assaulted by an ex because I think she like transformed into Dick's at the time girlfriend, but that sort of thing is hand waved and it's like, ha 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 ha. Oh, well, at least the guy got lucky, you know, never mind the fact that it was still through deception, and I'm like, that's still horrifying. This ain't funny, guys. Lobo has a daughter who's Teen Titans, or the run of them. That's kind of cool, actually. But no, I'm afraid I didn't know that. Honestly, that's another reason that even though I like DC characters, I've largely given up on actually trying to keep up with them again outside of things like, again, the webtoons, because, excuse me. It's like any information I need to know about the characters, the comic itself does a pretty good job of filling me in. So I'm just like, I'm just going to accept what the comic gives me and move on from there. Because, like, hell, I didn't even know Bizarro was a member of the Outlaws. But I'm like, it works. Having a member of the Super Family as a member of the Outlaws, given that, you know, the Super Family and the Bat Family have always been close, I'm like, it works. Oh, no fucking kidding. And again, the problem I ran into is, so like, for a while, I tried to follow, like, maybe lesser known heroes, I guess. Like, when they did... Oh, they launched a line of comics that was like the new age of heroes or something like that, and they introduced Every Bat is a Super. Agreed. And they launched like a bunch of new books, like a book called The Terrifics, a book called Curse of Brimstone, The Silencer, so on and so forth. I read about half the titles that sounded interesting. Like I read Sideways, Curse of Brimstone. But point is, most of these comics were incredibly short-lived, so keeping track of continuity didn't really matter a ton. I think Dick himself has a Flash. Yeah, him and Wally are friends. Like, in a lot of continuities, Wally and Dick are like the oldest of friends. Did that one. I know there's 4, and I think I've only done 2 paintings? The sad thing is I have a hard time... These places do have color with my books. Thank you. Here's Silver Pen. Thank you. Okay. Cool. I think it's just the paintings I still haven't done. Well, okay, yeah, just paintings, right? No? Yeah, okay, I still need to find 2 more paintings. Let's take care of this guy. And we'll... I don't remember how to hurt you. Yay, I'm friends with a big blob thingy. Kalu Kalay. It's everything I could have ever hoped for. Nope, yep, I've already done that one. Now, one thing I really wish, because I know there's like a DC Universe Online, but I don't know very much about it. But one thing that I would love to do is, because like in my personal headcanon for Edgelord, they actually went to the DC Universe once and became a Pink Lantern. Mostly because I think it's really funny to think that Edgelord has a pink power ring on them. But yeah, I don't know enough about DC Universe Online, if it's even still up, plus DC Online is fun in some levels. But I also freely admit, after the disaster that was some of the issues I had with Pokemon Scarlet, I kind of have been put off the idea of playing / streaming games with fan interaction. I mean, I say that while I'm currently streaming Xenoblade Chronicles X as Edgelord, which also has online multiplayer facets, but I don't know. It's one of those things I don't have to, and there aren't as many people online. Grandius fight if you need it. And you need membership. I think that's another reason why I've never really looked into it, is I'm not looking to pay for memberships or anything like that. I think that's another reason. I mean, heck, I've looked at possibly streaming Phantasy Star 2 online, the Star Wars MMO, and Final Fantasy 14 online. But again, what kind of scares me away is then I have to actively interact with people. It's not quite true, but okay, fair enough. Because again, it's like, I don't really know how much I actually want to. I love you guys. I want to be very clear about that. And I love how passionate everyone is about the channel. But I also admit, I'm like, okay, do I have the mental fortitude to be online, if you know what I mean? So I admit it's definitely more of a me problem. Because I know that one of the reasons why Abby is easier with a membership. Okay. Because I know one of the reasons why Abby doesn't stream quite as much anymore is she did get kind of overwhelmed by the backseat gaming and the comments and whatnot. I legit am not sure where these paintings are. I might just have to call that one an L and just say I can't do the paintings, because yeah, I'm at a loss. Yeah, there's that painting. I've already done that one. Yeah, I'm just gonna take the L. Yeah. That's disappointing. It's kind of like, I mean, it is kind of like the red gemstone thing in the last area. I'm like, fuck you, asshole. I got all the gemstones, but it didn't count it as a completed quest or whatever. I digress. Haunted house number dos. Yes, ballroom, please. Hello, Mr. Organ, sir. The
pipe organ is malfunctioning. I'd fix him, but steam power is not really my specialty. Shall we help him? We'll have to climb those pipes anyway. Way out there at the top won't be easy if he's agitated. Careful, strike a siren out with the fellow and he could be your swan song.
Actually, 1 second. What is on the other side of this? You know, it is kind of funny. I remember, like, just thinking when I played this game... Sorry, just something occurred to me. When I first played this game for the Wii, I remember thinking, like, wow, like, this game definitely works better, probably only works well with the pointing of the Wiimote, but... Yeah, fair enough. That's kind of my fault. I also played the Wii version ages ago, back in 2012. Yeah, and I think in some ways being able to point with the Wiimote is still the ideal way of playing this. But I also can't deny just how just simply having access to an analog stick to point the camera actually makes a lot of the exploration a lot easier. Because, again, if I remember correctly, because on the Wii... I haven't played it in a while. Because the Wii version was, you know, you use the motion controls and so you only had the one stick on the nunchuck, there was no proper way of controlling the camera other than pressing a button to flip the camera behind you, like in classic Zelda games. And I want to be clear, that way of doing things works fine. Like, that's really all I have to say about it, is that they work fine. But they are archaic, and unless I'm playing like an old school Zelda game, it's not my preferred way of playing games. Because I'm very much willing to put up with that type of camera in if I'm playing Ocarina of Time, but that's just because I'm like, that's nostalgia. That's how you're supposed to play it. But it's not my preferred way. Okay, I've been a really good Wii player back then. Same some of my Wii games, including Sport Hero, played no longer work. I know. I have a number of GameCube game. Heck, even Wii games are kind of similar. So, sad thing, speaking of Wii games, me and Abby wanted to play Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance, and Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn for the channel. Well, still do. And I mean, Path of Radiance is a lot more doable now, thanks to it being on the online virtual console, but the problem that we've kind of run into with Radiant Dawn is that we have two copies of that game. We have the copy I grew up with and the copy Abby grew up with. But both copies are so well loved. There are different points in the game where the that the game will just crash. So we have to, well, that's not what I meant to do, but it works. So we have to like switch off one, you know, to swap the discs out. And, well, that can corrupt footage midstream. So like, and heck, it can corrupt footage mid-recording. So it's like, that kind of eliminates that game. And since well, that game is very rare. Finding, you know, getting a new copy to play online is just not going to happen because of how expensive it is. Plus, again, we already have 3 copies. Plus, then again, another reason one of my copies, my copy specifically, is in such bad condition is because I loaned them to friends and they didn't take care of it. In fact, sadly, and it's sad that it was this game that made me realize this, but yeah, them getting damaged was a... Alright. But, yeah, that sucks. It sounds like my eggs. Seeing freeze up always scares me a little. Yeah. But yeah, I want them to remake, or at least re-release both of Ike's games, because they're good. And I mean, I know part of the reason why those games have not been revisited, re-released, is because Ike's universe, in terms of Fire Emblem, is actually the least popular Fire Emblem setting in Japan, and since Fire Emblem's from Japan, that does... yeah, but I love those games, and I just wish I could play them again without knowing that, well, at one point I know my copy of Radiant Dawn is going to freeze up on me. Because I still feel Radiant Dawn is the best Fire Emblem game, and it was the last Fire Emblem game that had truly good level design. Because, for me... Let's see. Bruh, I'm gonna need the pipe organ part 3, too, since I learned the double jump with Mickey real well. Yes. Hey, Simp Lord, you played this game when you were a kid. Do you remember how long it was? Because I don't. I don't remember how close I am to the end. Because I don't remember this game being excessively long. But honest truth is, I just don't remember. I heard of Fire Emblem through Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Yeah, no, I mean, let's be real. The only reason... Well, okay, there's 2 reasons. But the big reason why Fire Emblem did finally get localized in America was because of Marth and Roy appearing in Smash Bros. Melee. Now, again, before anyone comments, I am aware that, like, the main reason that Fire Emblem got localized was due to the success of the Advanced Wars series. That convinced Nintendo that America was interested in a tactical RPG like Fire Emblem. So yes, I want to be clear. I do know that just simply saying it's because they appeared in Smash Bros. Was the only reason it was localized is fundamentally just not true. But let's be real, I do think it's not, we do still have to acknowledge that reason. Like, it very much is a factor, even if it's not the only reason, like many people at the time said. Let's see, from what I know, it's not the big of a game because my mom had played the Wii version on the bug. Okay. Yeah, again, I love Fire Emblem. Like, honestly, for a while, I actually considered Fire Emblem to be my second favorite video game franchise of all time. The only reason I don't consider it anymore is because I've kind of realized I only love, like, a handful of the Fire Emblem games I've actually played. Whereas I genuinely can't stand a couple of them, and I am indifferent at best to a few others, so it's kind of hard for me to say that I love this series as a whole, if you know what I mean. It's kind of something I've similar... I still will say the Tales series is my favorite series, if for no other reason than because Tales of Symphonia is my absolute favorite game of all time, hands down, no questions asked. But let's also be real, I hate more games in the Tales series than I love. So if I'm being a little more realistic, it might be more accurate to say Mass Effect is probably my favorite game series of all time because I like all 4 Mass Effect games in some capacity. It's same thing with Paper Mario. Like, I used to say it's one of my favorite series, but I only actually love 2 of them. I can tolerate one of them. I'm indifferent to another one. I haven't played one of them, and I really hate, you know. That's complicated. Well, like, even if you played it such a long time. You're good. But yeah, I love Fire Emblem, and I'm... My dog's assembly truck. Those generators are producing beetleworks, machine would create another supply. So making beetleworks, you can't get to that doctor. Open the door's eyes to jam machine, but most use the tracks to our advantage. Promise to return favor. Thanks, man. Let's Super Mario. Mom and I played that way back in 2013. That's the one that I absolutely can appreciate it for its story. But I really, like, I can't play that one. Like, I really can't play that one. Like, I really can't. Like, I really can't stress enough that I do think, from what I know about it, it has, like, one of the best stories out of any Paper Mario game. But I just don't like the gameplay. Because, again, I legit tried streaming it. I legit wanted to give that game a real fair shot. But I just couldn't. It just, I found the gameplay too frustrating. And I want to be clear, that's a me problem. That is 100% because of me. It's not because of any shortcomings the game has. It's a me problem. But yeah, back to Fire Emblem. I just really feel Fire Emblem has not been the same since 2009, 2007, whenever Radiant Dawn came out. Like, the real turning point, though, was Fire Emblem Awakening. For better or... So, for those who don't know, Fire Emblem, more than half of the franchise hasn't been released in English. That's just because I don't remember numerically what the first Fire Emblem game we got, but it was the second Fire Emblem game that was released on the Game Boy Advance. There were a total of 3. We only got 2 outside. There were only 2 released outside of Japan. Words. Beat the game, no problem. Spider boss fights. Yeah. Sorry, Fire Emblem. To say the very least, and I don't know, it's one of the reasons why we don't. That's the witch's ghost. That's the witch from Snow White. That's okay. How do I launch those again? Oh, jeez. Fuck. But basically, Fire Emblem was not in a good place after the Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon did not sell well at all. In fact, it sold so badly that Fire Emblem Warriors of Light and Shadow, which was a Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon was a remake of Fire Emblem, the original. It was a remake of the original Fire Emblem game. And Warrior of Light and Shadow, or whatever it was called, was a remake of the third Fire Emblem game, which was a direct sequel to that first Fire Emblem game. Well, but again, because Shadow Dragon did not sell well here in America, the sequel was not released in America either. Because of that, Fire Emblem, and combined with the fact that a lot of people just found Ike's second game to just be too hard, so it also didn't sell well, at least internationally. So Fire Emblem was on the verge of being canceled forever. So they had to kind of reevaluate with Fire Emblem Awakening and found a way to make Fire Emblem appeal more to the mass market, and it succeeded. And I do love Fire Emblem Awakening, but it was officially kind of the oversimplifying of the series, for better or for worse. Because Fire Emblem Awakening, while you could play on harder difficulties, permadeath was still in the game. They introduced casual mode, which got rid of the franchise's iconic permadeath system. And it introduced the second seals, which you basically let you grind your character's levels as much as you wanted. And unfortunately, the franchise has been kind of on a bit of a downward spiral since then. Again, I like Awakening. I think Fates is a piece of shit. Like, I despise Fates. I loathe Fates. Like I said, it's my second least favorite game of all time. Like, I can't stand that game at all. What was I supposed to do? Like, Fire Emblem Fates, I think, is awful. Three Houses is better, but I find that game to be so dull and so boring. And then Engage. I have such mixed feeling about Fire Emblem Engage because, quite frankly, Fire Emblem Engage does a lot more correct than Three Houses, in my opinion. But the story and characters are really bland. And the presentation of the game is just so half-assed. And there's just too much emphasis put on the fan service. Most movie games were played. Oh, fuck. I like Smash Ultimate. I still think I prefer Brawl in terms of, like, single-player options, because I know that a lot of the control choices in Brawl aren't well-liked, and to be fair, I get it. But I just kind of always appreciated the fact that there was this, just a story mode, if you know what I mean. Like, I really liked that. So I know Smash Bros. Ultimate kind of had, like, the light or whatever it was called. I don't remember. And I definitely did appreciate that that was there, but it wasn't as fun as the Subspace Embassy, in my humble opinion. And again, that is just my opinion. I've kind of slowly been falling out of love for games like Smash as the... Oh, shit. 'Cause I used to play games like Smash non-stop. Not so much anymore. I fucking don't know what I'm supposed to do, game.
She's on her birthday on April 25th. Got me. DLC special.
Ah, congrats. Yeah, I know him getting well, him and Cloud both being added were a big deal, and I see why. Again, as much as I'm not the biggest fan of Final Fantasy VII, I can't pretend like its legacy isn't important. Say, I can't leave yet. What am I supposed to do?
I know how to deal with those now.
Oh, great, they respawn. Lovely. Did you just glitch out? Fuck me. No worries, Endangered. Glad you could stop by. What am I supposed to do? I'm so confused. See you next time, Endangered. I don't... Because they said, like, oh, break the thing, but then it's also, like, use the tracks to our advantage. So I'm pretty sure I gotta lower that somehow. Because then it connects to that. But... I don't know.
I want to do that stage, but I should have backseat game. Let's see.
Yeah, I need some help. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't see what this gets me. So that tanker you killed after you wait for the door to keep it open again. Okay, so I think it came out of that door. You've lost, Doc! Now where's your Beetleworks army? Yeah, thank you.
I haven't lost. Now I can get it. You see me again as a conqueror.
Whoop, you're animatronics! You're Beetleworks?
That last you understand. The blood absorbs all the pain of the wasteland. Only we animatronics will survive. I shall root for that last time. Don't call me. My instruments! Oh no!
Looks like dumbass is blasting off again. Yeah, again, thank you very much.
Gee, don't think you need this. Let's get back to civilization.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that that technically... Yeah, I mean, again, I'm just glad to be done. But I'm like, what would I had to have done to get the paint ending, you know? Because again, that's what I prefer doing. Basically, again, I'm Paragon for life. Again, I know he said, like, use the tracks to our advantage, but I just couldn't figure out how to lower the tracks. Or maybe because I accidentally fucked over all the singing statues. I couldn't do that, or... It does lol, indeed. And it also could have been because I had those two guys destroy the other ones. I didn't have any choice but to do the destruct. I don't know. It's fine. It's just one. Like I said, I do prefer to do the paint ending, but at the same time, I guess since I do need thinner to take out, to like get the paint off the animatronics so I can hurt them, maybe it's a good thing I did at least up that once.
Well, if it matters, as soon as you fix the organ, I can say we'll miss this place. Oh, not much fun. Besides, I hear something big's happening at Micky Mountain. More in distance, I put myself between that place better. Before I forget, I want to have each piece of Donald.
That might be all Donald's pieces? Maybe? Yeah, did we get all of Donald's pieces? Yep. Yes, we did.
Wacka, wacka, wacka.
Some things never change. Alright, how many failed? Yeah, I know. Fuck you. Fuck you too. Wait, what? I'll get fucked. Christ. I hate some of the requirements. did that one too. Again, I'm arguably being pretty overly negative here, but some things are buggy. Some things are just like, are just not working like they should. Because I'm like, some things like I did do that, but it just didn't count it for some reason. I don't know why.
Before you break the curse. Say that to my Donald. I wouldn't even make a voodoo doll.
Why would I make a voodoo doll of? Oh, never mind.
Free rock pizza.
Who's Ian again? There we go. You know, a Wii game that I considered streaming for the channel, but ultimately decided against, was, what's it called? Red Steel 2. Because I did want to stream Red Steel as Edgelord, and hell, I was streaming Red Steel as Edgelord briefly, but we then had some issues with that. I kind of ended that series. Definitely wouldn't mind maybe revisiting Red Steel just as me, because I do like that game, but I don't really care for... Look, the doll! Red Steel 2 is just kind of a disappointment. It's not one of my favorite Wii games, to say the very least.
I wonder what that did to Donald.
But yeah, it's like the first Red Steel was a surprisingly entertaining first-person shooter that was a Wii launch title. The second one, I mean, it tried to improve upon the gimmicks of the first game, but I don't really think it worked. Especially since the story was way more boring. I know. Why? Especially first-person shooters. Story's not really what matters. Gameplay. Rest in peace, indeed. Gameplay is arguably what matters more with shooters, and I don't know, even then I didn't think Red Steel 2's gameplay was, I mean, it was arguably better than the first one in some ways, but the gameplay just felt a lot more hollow, because I don't remember if Red Steel 2 had multiplayer. I mean, not that the multiplayer in the first Red Steel was any good, it really wasn't, but at the very least, there was an enjoyably simple reason to go shoot stuff in the first Red Steel game. I couldn't give a shit about why you were doing anything in the second one. Like, I truly could not give a shit. Sure. I will read that in a second. Huzzah. Always friended them in the game. They're just cute, not gonna lie. Agreed. Again, I do prefer to... Fuck yeah. I prefer to friend them too. It's just also they was fucking around with the voodoo doll, making Donald's life a little miserable, and I kind of just thought it'd be funny to kick him into the swamp. Yeah, I'm a terrible person. I can acknowledge this. I also just realized I've got 2,000 e-tickets. That means I can buy the last of Goofy's pieces and get him all fixed up. You know, that's one thing I will say. I know, like, in my original playthrough, I don't think I was able to complete anyone, whether it was Goofy, Donald, or Daisy, but I think I should be able to do all 3 of them this time around. Oh, but I thought we were friends. There you are. That Shadowblood has marshaled all the Bloodines it could summon. They're climbing up Mickey Mountain to attack my fortress. They're trying to. Well, never mind. They're trying to. I need your help. They gotta be repelled before I can help you launch that rocket. Take all you can carry. If those guys loyal to the Blots are up there, they're going to be tough, even for someone as great as you. Okay, I can't help. This feels kind of finale-esque, if you know what I mean. I thought I had 30. Oh, do I not? Anyway, Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Celebration are tanky mini bosses, but they're pretty cool. Cool. Love to see it. Alright, where's the shop? Or was it... Either way, we're going to the ice cream parlor first. No. I don't really care about those. Plus, again, I've got... Okay, there was a shop in here, right? It's this place, right? Pretty sure it was this place. Yeah. Here we go. Oh. Well, save up for that, I suppose. How many... Is there any way for me to view? How many... I don't want to look at my pins. I want to... Oh, I literally need one more. Just remind me of Jabba the... They do. You know what? Fuck it. I've got enough for one. Then I'll just save up for that. I think I've got some for you. Again, I still don't really know how I failed that Tiki quest, but again, whatever. I don't know why I'm doing that song. Fuck goes the weasel. We need to head to... We need to head to Oswald's place to use the... to reassemble Goofy, I think? Yeah, I want to head to Oztown. And then we can come back and help with the mountain invasion. Yeah, I think it's a little late for me to hit up the pharmacy, so that's... Yeah, I won't do that. Stage level is Epic Micky, by the way, not gonna lie. Would be Tomorrow City. Yeah, that one's pretty fun. You know, I also realize it is kind of appropriate that I am streaming this game because me and Abby are going to be going to Disneyland in a couple months. So I gotta get in the mood for it. Cause it's like I absolutely loathe Disney as a company, but I don't know, the park itself is very special to me and Abby, so I can't hate it as much as I probably should. Alright, let's get Goofy out of there. Sailor Moon! Some Kingdom Hearts game series. So, I have only played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, Birth by Sleep. I kind of played Chain of Memories as a kid. I didn't beat it, though. Then I have not played any of the DS games, and I have not played Kingdom Hearts 3, even though Abby does own all of Kingdom Hearts. I love it. Concept alone, I do feel the franchise kind of got away from itself as a whole, you know? First two games are great, but they just kept complicating the lore and just... I don't know. I will admit that my favorite of the Kingdom Hearts games I've played is Birth by Sleep. I don't think it's the best of the ones I've played by any means. I still think 2 is arguably the best. But, I don't know. I freely admit I did find its story a hair more engaging, even if it does arguably unnecessarily complicate the lore. I don't know. Again, I will say Abby adores the franchise, and for that reason, yeah. I still gotta have my mom play them with her. You get them on Switch, so they're expensive at the moment. You are not kidding. Although, I do know, interestingly, the reason why Mickey is barely in the first one had to do, and even when he's in the game, you only see a silhouette, had to do with some licensing issues in regards to, his use in video games. Wait, do I have to... Shoot, is your fortress accessible only through... Shoot, I might have to... His fortress might be accessible in Oztown, because... That takes me to the island. We were just there. I can't go back to that. Yeah, actually, I think... Yeah, I think I might have gooped. Of anything crossover multiverse related. I do too. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I absolutely love Kingdom Hearts in concept alone. Is because, again, I do love crossovers. That's another reason why, even if I don't really play Smash Bros. That much anymore, I will always love Smash Brothers. I mean, heck, again, even though I'm not, like, mostly just because I've kind of fallen out of love with competitive games just in general. It's why I still, to this day, have a Smash Bros. Wish list. Like, I've got my 5 characters I want to see in Smash Bros. I think most gamers do. But, yeah. Well, technically I have 10, but you know what I mean. Plus, I think the other reason that makes Smash Bros. So special is Sakurai. Because since he's all about player, experience first, he always goes out of his way to make sure that the characters that are included in Smash Bros. are there for fun, not necessarily for like marketing stunts, if you know what I mean. Like, just as a comparison, and this is a quote that I am taking from Cat Icarus and Scott the Woz. They did a review of PlayStation All-Stars for the PlayStation 3 years ago, and they talk about the fact that the roster for PlayStation All-Stars, sure, it's got some classically loved characters like Sly Cooper or Parappa the Rapper or Kratos, but they also point out the fact that it has Dante from Devil May Cry, but specifically it's the reboot version of Dante that was, you know, coming out like a few months later or something like that. So it's like, it was less because, you know, that was a character they knew people wanted or had any special meaning to the fans. It's more like they wanted like cross promote or something like that. Again, I'm quoting them. They're more familiar with PlayStation mascots than I am. Personally, I'm definitely of the opinion, based on like my knowledge of PlayStation mascots, it's like they should have had something Final Fantasy related. They should have had Crash Bandicoot on there. Yeah, I know he wasn't exactly a mascot for PlayStation at that point in time, but still deserved it. And hell, one of the characters that was in the game was the main character of the game Heavenly Sword, which was another game I wanted to play for the channel, but our PlayStation 3 is not compatible with our current Elgato, so I can't do that anymore. I'm sad about that by like a lot, because I actually I really like that game. But yeah, she was in the game, despite the fact that she's hardly a PlayStation mascot. It just, she happened to have a game that released around that time that PlayStation was very eager to promote.
Glad to see you haven't chickened out yet.
Come on, guys. Let's get up to the mountain together.
Huh, you and your new best friend can travel the way I do. I'm gonna straight to the jug, but I'm afraid you fellas will have to climb. It's gonna be tough. Enter the projector screen right behind you.
That's fine. Remember Crash Bandicoot being in Skylanders Imaginators and Skylanders Academy Netflix series? I heard about that. Oh, that's another thing I need to stream is... I streamed Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy. I had fun, albeit I'll admit it was kind of frustrating at times. I need to stream Crash 4 It's About Time. Oh, I also streamed Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. And man, like, after playing that game, I got really spoiled when it came to kart racers. And don't get me wrong, I love Sonic. Let's see. The Skylanders series, speaking of. Haven't seen it. Or do you mean like the whole franchise, like games included? Because I've never played it. Wait, no, I played it once. I think it was a fun gimmick, but... gaming series. I think it is 100% a pure gimmick series, and I kind of understand why it's died out. Like, it was kind of that generation's version of something like Guitar Hero. And what I mean by that, it's a series that requires a potentially expensive peripheral. I say potentially because you don't technically need to buy a fuck-ton million figures. You only need a couple. But you are missing something, and anyway. But yeah, you need a ton. But yeah, it's one of those things that I'm not even remotely surprised it died out. I played Trap Team on the Wii a while ago. I've never heard of that game. Like, honestly, one thing I will say, love or hate amiibos, I am kind of on the middle ground with amiibos, and admittedly it's partially because I use them wrong, because I don't like opening them, I like collecting them, which I know frustrates Abby because she would like to use them, but since I'm the one who buys all the amiibos, I kind of get final say in the matter. I know, I'm kind of a dick, I acknowledge this. Amiibos at least had a little more staying power, because they could be used in more things. The trade-off is, arguably, Some of the things that they're used for are kind of bullshit because they unlock stuff that realistically should have just been programmed into the game normally. I like the art direction of this game. I'm sure I've said that, but I need to reinforce that. I love the way this game looks. It's Oswald. Looks. Oh, right. It's Oswald. Looks. Oh, there's the blot. It's the Shadow Blot. Look at the size of him. Or yeah, Shadow Blot, not Phantom Blot. Phantom Blot's a different Disney villain. My Shadow Blot boss. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to beat the game tonight. Just looking at the time, but yeah, we're doing pretty good, I think. Okay, how do I beat you? How do I hurt you? Rude. Oh, I've only got one heart. I did kind of go into this fight hurt, so that tracks. Oh. Okay, so it's kind of like those other small thingy-madoodles. Just have to blow paint or thinner into their mouth when they're inhaling. Alright, fair enough. Ow. There's my last health pickup, I think, so... I mean, again, I went into the fight hurt, so... Oh, no, I've got a few more. So, honestly, I think I'm doing not bad considering I came in here with, like, one heart. So... Okay, I definitely do kind of enjoy, like, the blue-ish accents that he's getting while I'm painting him out. Oh my! Well, he did just kill his own minion, so... Eh. Okay. Yeah, I was about to say rule of 3. You cannot defeat me, for I have no soul. Oh, right, because I befriended him. Oh, he's actually kind of sweet. Great job, Mickey. Help! Thanks, that was a close one. No one else has made it to the jug in years. What is this? The blot? the blot. You haven't even seen the real blot. A long time back, Hortensia and I managed to... We saved Wasteland, but I lost Hortensia. I stay here on the mountain to guard the jug. You guys thought it was just drippings. I didn't mention that before. Okay, you already did it. Yep. Little mouse, I may have misjudged you. Hortensia would want me to shake. Let's start over. Shake on it. A while ago, I found this workshop. There's paint thinner. Things got out of control. I spilled a jug onto the gateway to this place. I caused the thinner disaster. You? I'm really sorry. Should have known. You stole my life and ruined my home? That's it. You and me, Mouse, right now. Come on. Come on, put him up. Put him up. I've been waiting this for years. Oswald? Finally gonna be my Oswald, you're such an idiot. Finally gonna be my... I love you, Oswald, but this is all technically your fault. Uh-oh.
I have the power!
Hi, I'm Discount Chernabog. So Phantom Blood Awakens. Love the escape. It's badass. I agree.
That was very brave of you. Where's Oswald?
Bet you're sorry you saved me too, huh? Well, that's why they call me Lucky Rabbit, huh? It's even bigger than I remembered. Oh no! Oh no! Wait, what? Oh! Oh wait, what are those?
The painted wasteland.
Looks like except us, Gus. Let's get to Oztown. Cool. That tracks.
Oh no, it's over in my blotticles. They're everywhere.
Okay, damn it. Oh, did I not give this back to him? Oops. Oh, yep. I'm gonna have to... Yep. Yep. Yeah, no. I'm afraid. I was hoping to beat it, but that's not gonna happen tonight. Thank you everyone for joining me. There will be another stream tomorrow morning. It'll be Edgelord stream, so more Xenoblade. Then in the afternoon, we'll be streaming Fantasia again. And then there'll be the normal streams on Saturday and Sunday. And yeah, I'm not sure when, but I will see you guys then. Have a good night. Bye-bye.